Any second guessing here about not having Clark on the Olympic team?
From me.
Remember when Cheryl Reeve, the general manager and head coach of the Minnesota Lynx, said she couldn't care less about Caitlin Clark? Well, turns out those two are now worth a small fortune. The Minnesota Lynx just made one of the most opportunistic moves we've seen in the WNBA, and it's all thanks to Clark.
Coach of the home team, there's going to be a lot of people cheering for that other side.
I'll get 2 shits.
How about 1?
Not even 1 shit.
You won't believe how fast Reeve flipped once she realized Clark could line her pockets. We're talking a full 180, from Olympic snub to full-blown superfan. Reeve's transformation is a textbook example of hypocrisy, but just wait until you hear about the ticket scheme that has fans absolutely livid. Buckle up, here we go.
So, we know the Caitlin Clark effect is real, obviously. It is incredibly obvious that it's real. But this might just sum it up more than anything else. But the reality is, Caitlin Clark is a bigger draw than the WNBA Finals, and it's proven by this.
Remember when Cheryl Reeve couldn't have cared less about Caitlin Clark? Well, things have changed, and fast. Let's rewind for a moment. When it came time to select the Team USA Olympic roster, Clark's name was nowhere to be seen, and Reeve didn't say a word. Then, when asked about Clark's effect on fan attendance, Reeve shrugged it off. Talk about being icy.
Hey, dummies. For the first time, in the history of basketball, you have arguably a player who is the most popular player in the world. You could argue right now, Caitlin Clark is the most talked about, discussed, most popular, most puts asses in the seats, single basketball player in the world. You could argue that. Yeah, you can say maybe LeBron, Luka, whatever you want, but you can argue it. And you leave her off the Olympics team? It's not only a showcase for her, it's for the sport and the other WNBA players who are on this team. How dumb, how brain dead, how idiotic do the people running this thing have?
Here's where it gets interesting. The fever hits, and suddenly the target center is packed. It's as if someone flipped a switch. Boom. Everyone's eager to see a Lynx game. And who's the star? Caitlin Clark. You'd think Reeve would double down on her skepticism, right? Nope. This is where Reeve starts to change her tune. It's like watching a stubborn old dog learn a new trick. Slowly at first, then all at once.
I'd rather watch paint dry. I'd rather watch dirt just be moved around. Because Caitlin Clark's not on the team. If she's there, it's appointment TV. You people, whoever did this, honestly, hey, take your brain, put it in a museum, and study it for how dumb you are.
Before long, Reeve is all about praising Clark. What changed? Could it be the sold-out arenas, the skyrocketing TV ratings, the jersey sales through the roof? You bet it is. Reeve finally realized what we've all known. Caitlin Clark is a goldmine, and the numbers back it up. We're talking record-breaking attendance, the most watched WNBA draft ever, with 2.4 million viewers, and the Indiana Fever's attendance soaring from just 4,000 fans in 2023 to a staggering 177,000 in 2024. That's not just an increase, it's a revolution.
Caitlin Clark is PR. That's where, how can they leave her? Once again, everybody's, out to get her. They don't want to grow the...
Caitlin Clark isn't just living up to the hype, she's rewriting the record books. She's the all-time rookie leader in assists and three-pointers made, with 62 records broken in her first season. Every game feels like watching a highlight reel unfold in real time. So, what's a coach to do when faced with a force of nature like Clark? If you're Cheryl Reeve, you swallow your pride and hop on the Caitlin Clark bandwagon. Suddenly, Clark isn't just a great player. She's a transcendent roadshow, the headliner women's basketball needed. But hold on, there's a twist. A ticket controversy is brewing that's got fans up in arms. Here's how it goes. Minnesota Lynx have their usual season ticket packages, but when Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever roll into town, the price for a ticket isn't just steep, it's astronomical. You could pay $30 for most regular games, but when Clark is in town, you're looking at ticket prices that soar up to $300. The Lynx are essentially creating a premium experience for games featuring Clark, and it's raising a lot of eyebrows. To make matters worse, the Lynx have introduced a half-season ticket package that costs a hefty $850, but with a catch. The Feather Games, where Clark is the main attraction, aren't included. That's right. You can't even buy a single ticket for those games unless you first purchase the full package. Fans are furious, and social media is blowing up. One fan nailed it, saying they were bummed after buying a half-season package last year, but won't do it again because of this new move. Another called it the most shameless money grab in any league's history. While the Lynx are playing hardball with their pricing, other teams like the Seattle Storm and New York Liberty are rolling out the red carpet for Clark, including Fever Games in their ticket packages. It's starting to feel like the Lynx are running a basketball speakeasy where the password is simply "show me the money." It's like a fancy restaurant jacking up the prices after getting a glowing review. Sure, they'll make some quick cash, but how long before loyal fans start looking elsewhere? What's going on here is simple. The demand for Clark is massive, and the Lynx are cashing in on it. But is this sustainable? If every team starts following suit, suddenly seeing your favorite player might become a luxury, not a right. And yet, for all the backlash, the Lynx aren't alone in their strategy. Every team is watching closely and taking notes on how to maximize their revenue when Clark comes to town. The real kicker: Caitlin Clark's impact is shaking up the entire WNBA. TV ratings are through the roof, with some of her games even outperforming NBA games on NBA TV. We're talking 20 out of 23 games with over 1 million viewers featuring Clark and the Fever. Other teams are literally moving games to larger arenas just to accommodate her growing fan base. Last season, Fever's jersey sales skyrocketed 1,000%, and their attendance jumped 250%. Teams across the league are feeling the Clark effect, whether they want to admit it or not. Clark's impact is also showing up in merchandise sales, with her jersey becoming the top seller in the entire league. The WNBA Finals even saw record-breaking viewership, with Game 5 peaking at 3.3 million viewers, the highest in 25 years, and that was without Clark even playing. Her popularity is undeniable, and even Cheryl Reeve, who once dismissed her, had to acknowledge it. Reeve called it the Caitlin Clark effect, noting how Clark's entry into the draft created a wave of enthusiasm that's translating into big business for the league. But the million-dollar question remains: is this a flash in the pan, or is Caitlin Clark ushering in a new era for women's basketball? Other experts are drawing comparisons between Clark and Steph Curry, suggesting her influence could shape how teams scout, market, and build their rosters in the future. We could be seeing a whole new style of play, and teams might be looking for the next Caitlin Clark. Clark's impact goes beyond just what happens on the court. She's changing the entire fan demographic. The WNBA is seeing record-breaking viewership and merchandise sales, all thanks to her. But there's a catch. Longtime fans are starting to feel priced out of their own passion. Some teams, like the Lynx, might see short-term gains, but will they risk alienating their loyal fan base in the process? Caitlin Clark isn't just a superstar, she's TA superstar. She moves the needle in a way the WNBA has desperately needed, and her influence is rippling across the entire league. But as the WNBA grows, the question remains: how much will fans have to pay to see her play? It's a delicate balancing act for the league, and how they handle this influx of new fans and the rising prices could shape the future of women's basketball for years to come. The Caitlin Clark effect isn't just hype, it's a revolution in the making.